What's the significance then of what appears to be an expanding civil war, a civil war that has broken out again after we haven't seen it there for more than a decade?
Well, we can't, overstate the importance of what's happening in Syria. We have seen for the past, 5 years, there was a relative calm, but to the despair of the opposition side, I would say, although being the parties to Astana agreement between Turkey, Russia, and Iran. I would say Russia, Iran, and the regime side have been on the offensive, and putting pressure on Turkey by bombing opposition areas and triggering waves of refugees towards Turkey's border. And this at this point, we seem to reach a point where this trend is stopping. It is happening at a time when Russia is really preoccupied and stretched in Ukraine. We see Russia is trying to let's say bring North Korean soldiers to sustain the fighting in Ukraine, and at the same time we see Iran is being overstretched because of what's going on in Lebanon. One of the most capable forces of the so-called Axis of Resistance Hezbollah being beheaded, and now there was a ceasefire agreement. But at the same time, Iran itself, its own ranks, Iranian Revolutionaries Guard Corps, they all sustain all very serious damages at the hands of Israel. So it is happening at a time when both Russia and Iran, the staunch supporters of the Assad regime against Syrian opposition, they are being preoccupied, but at the same time overstretched. And this is coming on top of a sustained, let's say, aggression towards Syrian opposition, with the fear that they might have been in preparation to start an offensive. And we saw prior to this an uptick in the preemption attempts by Russia, Iran, and the Assad regime, and this has been in the making for a very long time. Syrian opposition withstood for a very long time aggression by Assad regime and Russia and Iran, and they were really eager to respond to this. But because of, let's say, Turkey's delicate, dynamics and balances Turkey was maintaining with many actors, Turkey was actually really careful and reining Syrian opposition elements from, let's say, starting a very far-reaching offensive. But at the same time, these were in violation of Astana framework, and Turkey, delivered these messages to its partners in Astana framework. But when Turkey couldn't, get a satisfying answer, I think that veto on Syrian opposition's, let's say, offensive eagerness, I think, has been lifted by Turkey.
Yeah, so I mean, from everything you've said, it does appear very much that the Syrian war did not end. It just perhaps was suspended or frozen in some places, but there is plenty of unfinished business. Is all of this just yet another example of how interconnected everything that's going on in the Middle East right now is?
Definitely, that is a very vivid example of how really interconnected things are in the Middle East. We would not, see such a change on the ground without, what happened in southern Lebanon or Lebanon altogether, or between what happened, between, Iran and Israel directly. These, in total altogether, had an impact on what's going on in Syria, because all those developments at the same time send certain messages to certain actors, and it caused certain opportunism among many actors who are active, and also controlling certain areas in Syria. For example, in the recent days, we have seen quite provocative aggressions by PYD-YPG against Syrian National Army elements, massacring scores of them, and these were a kind of opportunism on the part of those actors, really poking those actors into some kind of retaliation, because they were thinking that opposition is in a weak position. Turkey cannot, let's say, greenlight a very high profile, let's say, offensive, because of what's going on between the Turkey and the United States, but also the delicate balance between Turkey and Russia, and all other things. But it seems like there have been some miscalculations and some opportunism and miscalculations on the part of certain actors are becoming really costly. We cannot also divorce this from the ongoing efforts towards Turkey's Syria normalization either. We have seen Turkey reaching out to Damascus for normalization, but we have seen at the same time a very rigid intransigence on the part of the Assad regime, and this came on top of that intransigence too. Now, Assad regime, in a way, is paying a price for its intransigence and maybe complacency, and now we are seeing a very unprecedented and very shaking, let's say, developments as a result of this.
Okay, Bilgehan, we thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme.